Welcome to What Remains of Edith Finch Part 2. We are actually going to be finishing the game. This game is not very long. You've already seen everything in here, all his medals, his war medals. He got... Oh man. His pillow, his bed. Let's walk over there. What was that? Sparrow what? Oh yeah. His hunting videos. Yep. Let's go. Shall I close the door? I think we shall close the door, can we? No, you can't close the door, so you gotta go this way.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
I don't want to play this part. This is the sad part. He was so young, so innocent. The way he had to die. Oh,
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Over, Gregory. It's time.
no, not yet.
Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
I get the last Y. There it is. Got the trophy. Did I get it?
He reminded me so much of Temple.
Wait, did I get the trophy? Hold on. Gotta look at this. I didn't see no trophy. Oh, I did get it. It just didn't pop up because I had the thing turned on. Gregory, I got it.
Lost in his imagination.
Take that. God, turn me over now. Oh. I gotta go up and get that thing. Oh, that's right.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I can feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Come on, I don't
don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. Hey, there's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too.
That is the saddest death in the entire game, I think.
Love, Sam.
That's just so sad that the baby drowned. Yeah, he drowned in the bathtub. That's why his room's a bathroom. Yeah. He was only a year old, too, by the way, if you didn't know. That kid would have had an interesting childhood growing up, though. Late 70s, early 80s, man. He would have had a great childhood growing up. Okay. Now we go to this man, Mr. Gussie Gus.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
And yet... Poem for Gus.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that I
now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. Make his bride.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Wow. Nuts.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Let me go back around here. I want to see something real fast. Where'd the paper go? Oh, so it went over and then it kind of loops right there, doesn't it? Or did it? I can't tell. Alright. Now, we gotta climb the rocks.
My
Climb the
mom
rock.
moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Here comes my favorite song out of the game.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Let's go find out what happens, yeah. Do 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 do. I gotta sit here and listen to it for a second, guys. Hold on. What a song. Well, we'll move it to where it's not so windy. A magic paintbrush.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
I was wondering how the tactile feel of that would be. That's pretty cool.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Louis's room.
A closer look, I did it!
Except Louis.
Whoa. Isn't that weird? I love his room though, because it's exactly how I feel right now. Okay, we'll come up here. Climb up. Look how high we are now. There's the house. And there's Orcas Island. That's the actual main island, by the way, if you didn't know. Look at the moon. Now we gotta go over here and open this up. Somewhere. Open it up. We come in. This is the longest of the thing, so it might be a few minutes before we get through with this.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Don't go back. Don't go outside. Go back. Thank you. Okay, let's get away from the door.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Orcas Island Regional High School. Okay, regional. So it's regional. Okay. What does this say? Oh, that's cool. That's a nice DVD set case. Look at his exercise ball. What do you need that for, Lewis? You smoke pot. Because I eat a lot. Okay. Marijuana. Yes, marijuana in your Joanna. Alright, let's get this going. This is the longest one.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
You'd think.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
Oh, really?
And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
That's funny. St. Louis.
He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for radiant rainbows. He followed the sound of her electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
We're almost there.
He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. We began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
You'll see Molly in a minute. She's over here.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
The wise Calico Molly.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
Bow your head.
Bend down his head.
Bend down a little bit. There's
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him. On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Almost over.
I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house.
This is mostly drawn out too, so...
There'd been an earthquake.
It's going to take a little while for us to get through this.
They called it the lowest
Tide
tide
in 1,000 years.
Every day of my life. I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things.
Here we are. We're lost.
Things I'd forgotten
Here we are.
ever existed.
Yep. Forgotten everything. Okay, we just keep walking straight.
But
Okay.
when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
Where's the gate?
That night,
There it is. I see
a
it.
lot of things came back to me.
You saw that? Where's the gate?
Or maybe I came back to them.
Oh, there's the gate. There's the house. There it is.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
It gets me so humbled quick, dude. This gets me humbled quick. And Shirley Dallas, yep. That's the creator. That's the owner, the creator of yeah. I have my tea. Yeah, Ian Dallas, the creative director for this, that's his wife. I found that, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Damn fucking prosciutto in my freaking teeth. Well, guys, that's the end of the story. There's Edith. There's Lewis. Yeah, his shit. Headphones and light switch and there's Milton. More Lewis. Milton. Jonathan Hamill. No relation to, you know, Luke Skywalker, but Mark Hamill, but we'll see. This is Gregory. Oh my god, I can't believe that's a sad story, dude. He's in the tub and he's something, you know, I don't know what happened, how the water got turned on. Gus, Dawn, and Gregory had their light switches fixed. Oh, let's see what else we got here. Gus, Gregory, Dom with the camera. The frog's hiding underneath this floor. I did not know that. That's cool. D. Barbara. Walter's room. I had one of those things. Melissa Fuss. Erica Pinto. G. Kui. Peaches. There's Walter. There's Anna Purnham. This is Sven. Well, Sven and Edie. Playing some chess, is he? Did you guys hear every single lyric of this? I was supposed to be a playtester, but I didn't get a chance to be. Wow. Oh. In loving memory, Louis Finch, December 27th, 1968 to November 12th, 1988. So he was not even, he was just about the same age I was. Almost. He was a year older than I was, so he's 36. So when he died, he was like, Here's what we gonna do. We gotta finish the story first. Oh, well, okay, fine. We don't have to finish the story. But I will.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin.
Yeah.
And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again.
Calvin was
and he wasn't.
Look at his legs, dude. Look how bad they're.
I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you.
I gotta pause that for a second. I gotta look at something. I gotta see some trophy notifications here. What was that? Replay of stories at loop-de-loop. Oh no! Once I finish this, I'll get loop-de-loop. I gotta look at the trophies though to see my trophy things. I want to make sure that I get the trophies. Let's just go ahead and view trophies. Want to? No, we can't view. We can't do build trophies center, can we? No, game hub, music, da 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 da. That's cool. Wait a minute, swing set? The fuck? I gotta check it out when we get done with this story.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
There it is.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
I get a loop-de-loop. Have I captured it? Did I get it? I don't know about that, so we're gonna go ahead and quit. Well, guys, it's been fun playing this game. This game is like 4 hours long, I guess. It's a short game, but it's a really good game, and it's really... Ingeborg, that's his ex. You see where it says A? That's Annapurna. Well, guys. There it is. Forgot I gotta close the book first. Okay.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
I'll have to get the Sam Rabbit. We're not gonna do that tonight. We'll do that later. But I want to thank you all for coming and playing with me, guys. It's been fun. Peace out.